and after several cancer-causing ingredients that were found in many cake samples, now the Karnataka Food Safety and Quality Department has issued a health warning. Now, Food Safety Commissioner has urged bakeries across Bengaluru to avoid harmful chemicals and artificial colouring agents, particularly those seen in visually appealing treats like red velvet and black forest cakes, Radhika.
That's right, Divya. This is certainly worrying. In fact, several carcinogenic substances were found in 12 cake samples collected from bakeries in Bengaluru. Out of 235 cake samples tested by the state government, Divya, 223 were found safe, while 12 contained dangerous levels of artificial colouring. Of course, officials warning popular cake varieties like red velvet and black forest made with colours pose significant health risks. So this is certainly a cause of concern as far as consumers are concerned, Divya. Now, warnings issued at this point by the state government in Karnataka. Let's go to food safety campaigner Revsant Himatsingka for more on this. He will be able to shed more light on the implications of something like this. Thank you, Mr. Revsant, for joining us on this important discussion. Before we get into the regulatory mechanism of all of this, my first question is, of course, we did hear these reports from Karnataka about cakes and local bakeries containing these harmful chemicals. If you could explain what these chemicals are and how they could lead to serious health concerns. Of course, there are regulatory mechanisms that need to be followed. But before we go to that, how dangerous are these additives in small amounts? Are we talking about long-term exposure, or does even small consumption pose significant risks?
I cannot comment about specific chemicals. Like in general, most of these chemicals in very tiny amounts, they are okay. But if you have it in excess, there's an issue. And the problem is that we do not know if it is present in excess or not. So some of these places, because they are not tested often enough, they just put it in excess to make their, so these chemicals look colorful. It's to add that color and that texture into the cake. And in fact, many packaged products also, which I speak against, they use colors to make it very bright and beautiful. So the same product in India will be very bright, but if you see it in the same soft drink in suppose the UK, it will not be as bright. So that in order to make it visually appealing, many companies add these colors, but they're actually dangerous, but only if you consume it in excess.
When we talk about colouring agents, there are also preservatives used to increase the shelf life, and additives for taste, and that can lead to cancer. So what are the other foods? I mean, these are, the prettier the cake is the cake that you need to stay away from. It's not just because of the calories that the cake contains, but also because of what it can cause. And now with these samples that have been taken and with studies that are suggesting that they could be causing cancer, take us through other foods that would perhaps be having these preservatives and these colouring agents.
So the most common, of course, fruits and vegetables. Like, they often now people want the most colorful tomato and the most colorful, the most red apple. And that's a challenge because in the nature, it may not be as red. So in order to make it appealing, they often add these colors and preservatives. Same with most of our packaged food, as I said, titanium dioxide, this is called E171 in your ingredient list. So many packaged foods have titanium dioxide, and that is also very concerning. And it's allowed in India, but it's banned in Europe and many Middle Eastern countries. So I think packaged food, fruits and vegetables, pretty much everything we eat, we need to be particular about. And not only do we need to be particular, I feel the regulatory bodies also need to take stronger action, because every month we hear of some controversy. Like just 2 weeks ago, we heard the laddu beef controversy. Then there was a human finger in ice cream. Then there were so many other issues, the masalas having cancer in it. So it's just like a very concerning situation, and not enough actions being taking place.
Right. Revant, my next question is there any regulatory oversight as far as this case is concerned? Because are there existing regulations that are supposed to prevent these kind of harmful ingredients to be used? because how does one know? And also as far as awareness angle is concerned, of course, we are all consumers and we do get lured by these pretty colors there. So how can, us as consumers be aware? And are there any regulations that are supposed to prevent these kind of substances to be added in cakes or any other food item for that matter?
So when any food body, like, a restaurant or cafe, they have to take a license before from the government, saying that they are going to, stating they're going to be giving safe food and things like that. But to be completely honest, there's no inspection per se and it's not exactly the food body's fault. It is partly that they just don't have the resources. It's just like there are hundreds and thousands of eateries within a small town itself. So to monitor every single food space, whether they're giving the right quality or not, requires a very different approach. I think we need to completely overhaul the current system, and we need way more budgets, way more food inspectors, health checkups, that every tiny cafe also is getting some checkups regularly every 3 to 6 months, random samplings, almost like a raid that, food inspectors are going in and just randomly testing samples. Currently, they just don't have the number or the manpower or the woman power to do it. But I think there needs to be very, very strong testing, because you can literally open up a cafe at your home itself and you can put whatever you want. There's no one's going to come to your home and check what you're putting.
Right. A lot of these cakes are supplied through, home bakers. Thank you so much, Revant, for pointing out, perhaps the best way forward is to bake your own cake and eat it too, right, Radhika? So, perhaps we should be, baking cakes and not using any kind of preservatives or artificial coloring. That should be the way forward.
That's right, absolutely. That should be the way forward. And as Revant had been pointing out, it is not easy for regulatory agencies to take a look at it. Of course, there is an inspection that is conducted regularly, but I'm sure it is not easy to detect all of these agents, so-called harmful agents inside cakes that are in bakeries as well. But let's move on to Pratibha on this. Pratibha has been covering the story from Bengaluru. Pratibha, looks like the government has issued warnings to bakeries, and certain cautionary measures have also been put up. Take us through the latest. What is the bakery industry saying? How are they reacting to this inspection that has been conducted, whereby these harmful substances have been found?
When you look at bakeries, there is dime a dozen when it comes to Bengaluru. In fact, I'm in one of those areas where you have something called the Iyengar Bakery, which is extremely famous. And the tricolor cakes at the Iyengar Bakery is something that you relish time and again. And this definitely came as a rude shock to me as well, because I'm going to definitely have second thoughts about buying that tricolor cake from that bakery. But when it comes to the inspections that were done, the Karnataka Food Safety Department has conducted surveys on several bakeries here, and I found that 12 varieties contained harmful levels of cancer-causing agents, and most of them are attributed to the colors that are used in cakes, because that is where the exact chemicals emanate from. You have the sunset yellow FCF, the tartrazine, as well as carmosil. These not only cause cancer risks, but are also harmful for mental as well as physical health, is what the experts seem to suggest. Now, most of the bakeries have reacted to this and have said that they would be sending it for resampling once they change the coloring agents and see if they can make it a much more healthier versions of it, so that people can actually stay safe here in Bengaluru. Back to you.